Hey guys, and welcome back. My name is Rachel O'Leary and I am standing in the middle of my water gardens. If you guys haven't watched any of these videos yet, I really recommend it because this is a super fun and rewarding way to utilize your yard, not only for growing plants, which I'll show you, but also for breeding fish. It's low maintenance, it's beautiful, it makes a great sound, and it's just a ton of fun. So today I'm going to show you some of the fry in the bins. I have fry in every bin but one right now, and that one bin has nothing in it. We're going to talk a little bit about that, some of the maintenance on my bins, and I'm going to fertilize my lilies because I'm starting to get blooms, and that's always rewarding. So let's get started. Still haven't gotten a polarizing lens for you guys, but the amount of fry in this minnow tub is absolutely staggering. There are at least 200 right here, right at the surface, and all over the surface of this tub. It is absolutely incredible. I also have my first little lily bloom. I don't remember what variety is because it's written on the tubs, but I'm excited that this party is getting started. I also found fry today in this tub, which this is Danio Chopre. Not sure again if you'll be able to really see, but there are quite a few. Right over this hair algae here, you can see some. And I also found fry in this tub, which is the Thacbiensis tub. Now there's not a whole lot in this one yet, but these fish weren't quite mature when I moved them out, so I imagine it's only a matter of time before I start seeing tons and tons of them. I still haven't moved anything out to this bin. We talked about moving out Tucanos, we talked about moving out Emperors, but I think what I'm going to do is throw some shrimp out here. Simply because I'm having a difficult time keeping up with the demand on the shrimp in the fish room. This is the Somfangzai bin. The little Trigonostigma is the cousin to the Espy and the Harlequin, the one that was once thought extinct. And I do see at least 3 fry in here as well, so that is good news. But I mean, as always, the clear winner in the fry race are the minnows. Now there's also Indian hatchets in here, and there's really no way for me to know which fry is which until I pull them and look at them. Let's see if we can. But there are just staggering amounts of fry in here. They're so thick they look like bugs almost. I really hope you guys can see this because it's exceptionally rewarding as a fish geek to have yield like this. Now the easiest time to spot fry when you're looking in your tubs is when the direct sun hits it, because they all come up to the surface to feed, and they are literally everywhere. Maybe I can find a spot, yeah, where they're swimming over some underwater plants for the camera to focus a little better. But yeah, so a lot of you guys have asked what I do to maintain these tubs, what I do about feeding and things like that, and the answer is basically nothing. I just sort of let nature take its course. Now, if I'm worried because I haven't seen any of the grown-up fish, the parent fish, then sometimes I'll sprinkle a little food in just so they come up to the surface. Because it's not at all uncommon to not see your fish at all in these tubs, especially when they're as heavily planted as mine. So, you know, it's okay. But if you're really curious, you can throw some food in. So one of the projects that is on the table for this week is to make up the potting mix for the carnivorous plants. Now it's easy enough to buy it, but it's expensive. It's like 10 bucks a quart to buy it. And the most common potting mix is just simply long fiber sphagnum and sand. So I've bought some of both, and I'm just going to soak the peat and then, or the sphagnum, and then mix them together. And I'm going to pick up a bunch of pots like this size and repot everything. And I might buy a few more of these totes. They're like $6 at Home Depot or Lowe's, and set up some bins of some of them for them to really be able to grow out, because over there I'm going to be putting a greenhouse soon. I have my hoops, I just have to start construction. I've been traveling so much that that's been difficult, but as you can see, everything is going really well here. I have done literally nothing. Actually, that's a lie. I did top off this bin once, and I did top off these little 30-gallon ones, these guys, simply because they get more evaporation because they're smaller and they're in the direct sun. So if the water level creeps down below the edge of the bin, of those floating plant bins, then I do add some more water. But I'm pretty stoked on how everything's doing, especially all these carnivorous plants. Haven't really got to set them up as I would like, so for them to be continuing to thrive in this minimalist sort of setup is really great. I'm picking up more of them as well. Thought I would show you guys. One of the pitchers got broken off on my plant, so I just opened up the bottom, and you can see the huge amount of bugs that these guys are eating. So they really are very effective for pest control. Yeah, so in a minute I'm going to bring out my fertilizer tabs and hit up all the lilies so that they'll continue to bloom. And that is the maintenance on the bins for today. So with all my travels, I really haven't had time to get to the store or to make my own root tabs. So I'm using the same ones I started with, which are just a generic one, and they're really not ideal for this application. In an ideal world, I would pull these pots out to put these in because they just fall apart in the water, and that feeds algae in the column of the bins. But I'm just going to try and act fast. And with these, you just want to shove them into the substrate below the gravel line on the edge of the pots. You don't want to put them right by the plant, or it can burn the roots. However, it is really important to fertilize every pot each month, at least during the growing season. Otherwise, you don't get good blooms, and I think that's why mine are a bit late this year. Hopefully this will jumpstart them. Last year I had insane amount of blooms constantly. This year I have my first one today. Always keep a dry hand to pull these out, otherwise the whole thing turns to mush. And again, I'm just pushing them into the side of the container and making sure they're covered with gravel and substrate. One of the biggest obstacles for me is finding the buckets in this giant 300-gallon tub. All right, I think that is all in that one. Now, I don't generally fertilize these hanging baskets that I have on all the bins. I allow those guys to feed off all the nutrients in the water column of each of the bins, and so far that's worked out great. One of the reasons I don't want to add a lot of fertilizers to the water column is because of my carnivorous plants. They really like a low nutrient load, at least for their roots. They do all their feeding from those pitchers. If you have too much nutrients going in through the roots, they stop making pitchers and they tend to die. One other thing that I do is as I check the bins each morning is I pull out some of the big clumps of hair algae. But you have to be really careful because a lot of times it's up at the surface, and you want to make sure you're not pulling out fish eggs or baby fish. And that is really it as far as maintenance on these tubs. And I know I keep saying it, but there is a staggering amount of fry in this tub. It's really very exciting. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I have a lot of travel stuff coming up. I have a lot of projects coming up. I have clubs coming to visit me. I've got all sorts of things I can't wait to share with you guys. Make sure you stop by my Instagram and my Facebook, especially my Instagram, because I post a lot of pictures there from all my adventures, both around the house here and my travels. And also, please stop by my website, MsJinx.com, where you can find my upcoming speaking engagements, my current stock list, and a little more information on all things nano.